Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. I'm going to show you all how to find what I found to be the most tedious or rarest pals to get. So, let's get into it. Now, I want to get into all the sanctuary spawns. I'll also show the easiest pals to use to breed for the rare spawns. However, I'll just show it on screen this time, as to not lengthen the video even more. For Sanctuary 1, Penking, Azarobe, and Icthyrodeer Terra are going to be the most common spawns you'll see. Now for the rare spawns, you'll see Patalia, Elphydrin, Veilet, and Grisbolt. In Sanctuary 2, the most common spawns you'll see are Incineram Noct, Yormantide Ignis, and Wumpo Baton. The rare spawns will be Verdash, Warsect, King Paka, Quivern, and Menasting. For Sanctuary 3, the most common spawns are going to be Incineram Noct, once again, Bushi, and Fenglope. The rare spawns will be Blazemut, and I want to specify quick, you cannot breed for Blazemut unless you already have a Blazemut. However, there is a boss location located here on screen. The next rare spawn you'll see is Orzurk, Astegon, Lylene, Phalaris, and Shadowbeak. First off, I want to talk about Jolthog Christ. It can only be obtained through breeding, or by finding a wild chance event, where a pack of dire howls are surrounding a Jolthog Christ, or by finding it in a cage in a Syndicate or Free Alliance base. You can also breed for it using Jolthog and Pangolin. I will also be mentioning breeding methods for all of these pals, as well as their locations. I'll use the combination of pals that I find the easiest to catch. Next, I want to talk about Nox. There are no specific spawns for it, but it seems to be just a rare chance spawn at night. It spawns on these highlighted parts of the map, and it can also be found in cages in Free Alliance and Syndicate bases again. You can also breed for it using T-Fant and Sealaray. Next, Killamari. While I didn't find this really that hard to find, it's just exclusive to dungeons. Specifically the lower level dungeons, so the level 13 dungeon on the spawn island, and you can also breed for it using Pangolin and Gumas. Next is Mao. Same thing as Killamari, it's exclusive to level 13 dungeons, but you can also breed for it using Lamball and Chicopee. Next, Masanda Lux. There is a boss spawn for it, or you can find it in dungeons in the bottom left volcano island. You can also breed for it using Masanda and Grisbolt. Don't worry, I will cover where to find Grisbolt later in this video. Now, there's Lunaris. There's a boss spawn in the southern left island for Lunaris, but it can also be found in higher level dungeons in the Ice Mountains. You can also use Dinossum and Sparkit to breed for it. For Elphydrin Aqua, I couldn't actually find any spawns for this guy, but there's no boss spawn or dungeon spawn I could find. You can breed for it using Elphydrin and Surfant, and as far as I know, that's the exclusive way to get it. For Relaxosaurus Lux, this one can be found as a boss spawn shown here. Other than that, you have to breed for it using Relaxosaurus and Sparkit. Next is Broncherry Aqua. You can find it as a boss shown here, and it is found by going through a cave here, or by breeding Broncherry and Fwack. Reptiro Christ, which formerly had its name as Ice Reptiro, but it can be found in the dungeons in the Ice Mountains. Also can be bred for using Reptiro and Foxicle. Also a note, Foxicle can be found on this mountaintop. It is a very small snowy biome that I almost missed entirely, and it is the only spot you can also get Kitsune, and that is a nighttime spawn only, so just want to mention that briefly. Next is King Paka Christ, which also had its name as Ice in the beginning, so it was formerly Ice King Paka. Now there is a boss spawn for it here in the Ice Mountains, and you enter through this mine here, and you can also breed for it using King Paka and Raindrix. For Felbat, there's a boss spawn here, but it can be found in mid-level dungeons around the level 25 to 29 dungeons as well. Also can be bred using Rushor and Melpaka. Next is Anubis. As far as I know, it can only be found as a boss in the wild, in this small desert here, but it can also be bred for pretty easily by just using Relaxosaurus and Sealaray. After that, Yormantide. There are two boss spawns for it, oddly enough, but otherwise it can be bred for using Grisbolt and Nightwing, as it has no natural spawns. I mean, obviously aside from the boss spawns, but whatever. Next is Suzaku Aqua. As far as I know, there are no normal spawns, quote-unquote, around the map for it. I found mine in an Ice Mountain dungeon, and I believe it can only be at the end of the dungeon as the alpha or boss. It can also appear in later level raids, such as the Ferocious Flying Pals. I believe the levels of the raids are dictated by the base level and not your personal level, but in case you don't want to have any RNG involved, you can breed for it using Suzaku and Yormantide. Next one is Lylene Noct. This one has a cave boss spawn here in the Ice Mountains. You enter through this cave, but it can also be bred for using Lylene and Menacing, both of which will be covered later as well. And lastly for this section is Frostallion Noct. This one is a breed exclusive PAL right now. You have to breed Frostallion and Hellzephyr. That's the only way to get it, so you will end up having to catch one of the legendaries. I will talk about the legendary location later on, but if you don't know where to find Hellzephyr, it is found in this central island, but only at nighttime. You'll find them around the 25 to 30 range, roughly around those levels. But that's all for the, natural spawns, or however you want to call it. Now, the last pals I want to show the locations of are the legendary pals. Now, keep in mind, the only way to breed for these is by breeding them with themselves, meaning Palladius and Palladius, Frostallion and Frostallion, all that. So, you can find Frostallion here in the Ice Mountains, Jetragon here in the outskirts of Volcano Island, and Palladius and Necromus in the northern part of the desert. Now, I just want to give a quick tip in case you want to go fight these. The order I would recommend is Frostallion, Jetragon, Necromus, and then Palladius. The reason for this would be because Frostallion is strong against Jetragon, Jetragon is strong against Necromus, and Necromus is strong against Palladius. So it'd probably give you the easiest time if you use them against each other like that. I hope you guys found this video useful, and if you enjoyed, I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Have a great rest of your day, and adios!